Episode number 11 of The Signs of the Times, looking at the future from a biblical perspective. In the previous episode, we heard about these ghost riders in the sky that you find in the book of Revelation. The first rider that was riding out in the book of Revelation in chapter 6 was a white horse, white rider. And we identified that rider with the preaching of the gospel to the nations first, as you find it in Mark 13. So that rider comes first. And now the next rider. When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come." Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make men slay each other. To him was given a large sword. It says in Revelation 6 verse 3 to 4. So when the second seal is opened from the scroll that contains the history of the world till its very end, there's this horse and its rider, and they are red as blood, and they represent blood. They take away the peace from the earth deliberately and maliciously, inspiring people to kill one another. Even mass killings take place. Now, the inspiration of murdering is of course coming from the powers of darkness. It's the devil who is called the liar from the beginning, and he's also the murderer from the beginning. But now somehow these forces are given permission to do it on a mass scale, a great sword to kill. In the Greek, the word here for sword is machaira. And machaira is not just a small sword to have private duels, but it is like hacking with that huge sword around you, hacking all kind of enemies to fall down and to be killed. As Jesus says in Matthew 24, it's nation against nation. When you look at the history, especially also in Europe, and you see how these wars already have taken place for almost 2,000 years, now this is leading to an incredible climax. Mass killing, genocide, these are terms for our days. 6 million Jews murdered in Hitler's death camps, in the gas chambers, for no other reason than that they were Jewish. In the millions, you hear about killings in Cambodia, it happened in Rwanda. Killings on a mass scale. When you look at the first time that these ABC weapons were used, the chemical weapons in World War I, but the atomic bomb in World War II on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, hundreds of thousands of people just killed in an instant, in a flash. It's incredible what man can do. The peace is taken from the earth, and people have a sense that this might happen again. You had in the past these demonstrations, mass demonstrations, when it became clear what atomic weapons can do. And people demonstrated in the streets that please, that it's not going to happen, but it is going to happen. He was given a large sword. Israel has always been the victim of this kind of killings. You see already in the beginning of the existence of Israel how these powers of darkness try to murder. And the Pharaoh of Egypt systematically increased the anti-measures that should keep Israel small, and in the end he started to kill the boys, the babies, and that has continued over the centuries. Now on a world scale, peace will be taken from the earth. But again, as we have discovered, these are birth pangs. It happens, it must happen apparently. It's a kind of judgment of God, but it's not the end of the world. Later on you read in the book of Revelation that even a third of mankind, or a third of the green grass, or a third of the beasts of the field and the fish in the sea will die because of all kinds of terrible things. But it means on the other hand that 2/3 are not being killed. 2/3 are left. 1/3 is taken away. So there still is a kind of, it's not all and everything. There's some moderation in it. And it's like these riders riding out and these things happening to planet Earth still have a kind of like the 10 plagues in Egypt. You can compare them with the 10 plagues of Egypt, but then on a world scale. And the plagues of Egypt still had the meaning and the intention that people would change, that Pharaoh would change his heart, that he would let the Israelites leave from their slavery to go to the promised land. It's plagues, it's unpleasant, but there's still some loving intention behind it, as if God says, yes, this is happening, but please, please, please listen and turn around, you sinful human beings, in order that I can bless you again. But it will happen, and it will happen on a world scale. But it will be short-lived, period. And then the great rider of the sky will come on his horse to make all things forever new.